Hey everybody, this is Brian with Bear Cards 34. Today I'm coming back with a nice surprise of a mail day. A really good friend of mine in the community who has an awesome channel of his own, has an amazingly impressive collection of cards, is Terry over at TJMAC Vintage Cards. I'm sure a lot of you are already familiar with him and his channel. He has some great stuff. And he reached out to me recently to let me know that he had just sent a couple of cards from a seller directly to me as a nice care package. And he said one of the two cards is the wrong team, which I assume means someone other than the Chicago Bears. But that's all I know about these two cards. So this is going to be a nice surprise for me. He said there's a story that he wants to share with me on one of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip the box right now on video. Then I'm going to go reach out to him and see about that story, and then I'll film the second part of that. So it will all be part of one video for you guys if you're watching this, but it will be two separate video shots for me to put that together. So I've included 3 cards here, just as a shout out for Terry. The one on the left is Tony Dorsett rookie. That is my favorite Dallas Cowboy, and he's a Dallas Cowboys fan. He's also a Buffalo Bills fan, and so I included my favorite Buffalo Bill. That would be Bruce Smith. And right there in the middle is Frank Gifford. That is a 1960 Topps football card. That was my very first ever vintage football card. I got it for Christmas from my parents the year after I started collecting cards. And I was really excited to have that because I knew of Frank Gifford from Monday Night Football with Al Michaels and Dan Deerdorf. So I was really excited to get that card. So Terry's very much into the vintage cards. That was the first one I ever got as a kid. And a fan of the Cowboys and Bills, and honestly just the NFL, Major League Baseball, sports in general. So great channel. I'll include a link to his videos in the description. If you haven't already checked him out, I would highly encourage that you do. And I'll be back after, well, no, I will rip this box. Let's see what this is. And then I will get in touch with Terry to find out more about these cards. All right. Here we go. So we have 2. Oh, very cool. All right, this is a Bill Wade. I don't know which year card this is of his. I'll look at the back in just a minute here. But he played with the Rams, and then he went on to play with my Chicago Bears. And that is an awesome old school. I mean, you talk vintage, that's a vintage card right there. Look at the helmet on that thing. That is fantastic. That is great. Zeke Bratkowski, Chicago Bears QB. There we go. Wow, that is an old card. Look at the background of this. See, the vintage cards, they're just something else, aren't they? Wow. So I don't believe, I may have one Bill Wade card. Definitely not this one and not this old. And I don't have any Zeke Bratkowski cards, so that is awesome. So let's see here. Yeah, 1958 Topps. 1958 Topps. 1958 Topps? Maybe those are not the right thing. I don't know. But check those out. Maybe those are, yeah, maybe they are, yeah. So just this one has the full yellow border, and this has a different one. But anyway, those are gorgeous looking cards. Thank you so much, Terry. These are going to go great into my vintage collection. These are now 2 of my oldest cards. I don't have many older than these. Wow, those are gorgeous. There's something about vintage. It's just, you know, the history. They really do look like works of art. And I've never even seen this card before. That is awesome. Very cool. Okay, so I'm going to go reach out to Terry, and then I will. In fact, I think he said he sent me an email with the story on these. So I'll go check out the email, and then I'll be back with the next part of the video to let you guys know about the story behind one of these cards. All right, thanks, guys, and definitely thank you, Terry. All right, guys, so I am back. So I went and checked out Terry's email, and there is a great story that I'm going to share. So my only other card from from this year, from the 1958 Topps, that I had before that was a Sonny Jurgensen rookie card. So it's nice to have a couple more cards in my collection from that. And I did double check, and the only other Bill Wade card I have is this 1960 Bill Wade, which is the same year as the Frank Gifford. That was my first vintage card. So I am thrilled to add these to my PC. As I mentioned, Terry did some research on this Zeke Bratkowski card. So this is for 1958, Zeke Bratkowski. What Terry said was he has a nice connection between the Chicago Bears and the Packers, which of course was your late brother's favorite team. And that's right, my younger brother Brad, he was a huge Packers fan despite being in a family full of nothing but Chicago Bear fans. And we have Reggie White to thank for that one. So Terry goes on to say about Zeke, he was nicknamed Super Sub by the Packers. He prided himself on working closely with Bart Starr to ensure that he got the call, that if he got the call, there would be no difference from Starr in how he approached the game. What I really like about this card is that he is wearing a uniform that I have never seen before, and is jumping in front of palm trees. And that was kind of one of the very first things I noticed about this card. You can see those palm trees right there. Definitely stand out. That is not your typical background of a football card. And one thing I'll say about Terry, one of the things I love about his videos, he will a lot of the times try to pinpoint, the time of the picture, based on jerseys, the situation, what's going on around, the stadiums. And he's right. I mean, looking at that card, that's definitely not a Chicago Bears uniform, and the palm trees, you're not going to find those in Chicago. But a very unique looking card for sure. So he goes on to say, I was intrigued by this photo and did some research. He played college at Georgia and was drafted by the Bears in 1953. This is definitely not a Bears uniform, and the Bears likely didn't practice in an area with palm trees. I also thought it might be an old picture from when he played at Georgia. It does not look like the Georgia uniforms and is unlikely from that period. Another possibility is that the uniform was from when he played in the North-South All-Star game in Miami, in Florida, when at college. I don't know what uniforms looked like at that time, but I don't think they would have used a picture that old. I think the most likely explanation is that when the uniform is from 1956, when Zeke played for the Elgin Eagles, a football team comprised of members of the Air Force stationed at Elgin Air Force Base in the Florida Panhandle. Green Bay Packers receiver Max McGee and Bears Jim Dooley, and I actually had picked up a Jim Dooley a little while ago on a mail day, this 55 Bowman. He was along with Max McGee and Zeke were playing on the team, the Elgin Eagles team. Similar to World War II, military bases fielded football teams in the 1950s. It makes for an awesome card and story, which I like. Yes, I am a sports nerd. Terry, so am I. And so are some of the people probably watching this video as well. Now, Terry included a link to an article about the Eagles that I'll include in the description as well if you guys want to check it out. And it talks about how at the time they would start up some football teams for morale, for public relations, things like that. And it would be a mix of different players because, with the draft and with, back then in the military, they were all sorts of people from all different kind of backgrounds. So you had professional football players, players who had played in college, players who had played only in high school. So it's kind of a mix and match of that. So anyway, it's a great article. I'll include that as well. And he did throw in about the Bill Wade card. And again, this is something I noticed and mentioned right off too, was that helmet, that old school helmet. What Terry said about this Bill Wade card, this one right here. I just love this card with the large picture of the beautiful Rams helmet. This was Bill Wade's best season. And I like the Rams from this era. The connection between Wade and Bratkowski is that they were part of a 3-team trade that sent Bratkowski to the Rams and Wade to the Bears in 1961. As you know, Wade was the quarterback of the 1963 championship team. So Terry, I really enjoy these cards. I love the story. And like I said, I had picked up this Bill Wade card just because I wanted to have one of his cards. Anytime there's a Bear quarterback who wins a championship, that's of note, because the Bears have had a long track record of disappointing quarterback play, unfortunately. So we got Jim McMahon, and then you have to go back quite a ways, and thankfully Bill Wade was able to do that for the Bears. So anyway, I love these cards, love the history, love the stories. So, you know, Terry, thank you again so much for the great cards. They're going to go great in my PC. And for everybody who watched and, you know, checked out the cards, listened to the great story and the research done by Terry, I really appreciate that. Definitely check out his channel. Those are the kind of things you're going to see on his videos, is a lot of detail, a lot of care, a lot of research, a lot of love for the cards, and great channel there. So again, thanks everybody for watching, and I'll be back with more videos in the near future. And as always, go Bears.